And so like a lot of people think of it like the bucket, like the allergy bucket. And so like each little thing that you're putting into your body or exposing your body to, like your allergy bucket is filling up.
I don't want them touching him because I don't know what's on their hands. Like they're eating a snack and they're like, can I touch your dog? Or they won't ask. They'll just run up and I'll swoop him up and I'm like, no touching.
When our dog would lick him, he would get an immediate rash. It eventually got to a point where Mark and I had to have a conversation like, okay,
What do we do?
what do we do?
Yeah.
He can't live, like this is our child.
He can't
live like this.
Yeah.
Hi, hello, and welcome to EpiPod.
Sarah is a mom to 2 little boys with food allergies.
And Danielle has navigated life-threatening allergies her entire life.
Living with an invisible health condition is so isolating.
The fear and the anxiety.
Trying to cover it up so you don't affect anybody else.
Especially your kids.
Phew.
Sound familiar?
Join us on the couch and take a load off with people who just get it.
We're so glad you're here. Welcome back to EpiPod.
Brought to you by Lorissa's Kitchen.
Hey, Danielle.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you? How are you doing? I know a little bit about how you're doing. You're stressed.
I'm not well.
Your eyes are twitching.
No, I literally was like, my left eye is twitching more than it's not twitching. Don't worry about it. And I mean it. That's not an exaggeration. Like stress.
Yes.
There it goes.
Mainly about what?
The move. Like this
Yeah.
has been the never ending move. And I'm alive to tell the tale, but I'm not quite sure. Like maybe this is like a sixth sense thing where like I'm watching my, like I feel like I'm having an out of body experience or like I'm a shadow of myself because this has truly just taken me out.
Yeah. I think, like we said, it's not toxic positivity because you're explaining how you're feeling, run down and feeling stressed out. But we did have a text conversation about like all the positives, and you have like so many friends coming to help you. And I think that's just such a testament to like the person you are and like all these buddies like jumping in saying like, we see you're stressed. How can we help you?
Yes.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. But I feel very adult. Like I have a staircase now.
Look at you.
I know. And there goes my eye again. My dog will get his own little backyard, but there were wasps today. There were a lot of wasps. I picked 5 dead wasps up.
Oh no.
And then I saw another live one and I said, just kidding, we're not going out there ever again.
I think maybe before you moved in, I bet they sprayed.
I don't know.
I bet there were wasp nests. I mean, I have like 7 in our backyard.
You have 7 wasps or nests?
Nests.
You have 7 wasp nests?
We have a big deck, like patio, and that's like, they love that up there. And so when you see them, you just like wait until they're a little more dormant and you spray them with wasp spray.
Okay, I am not the girl who's like, I need a boyfriend. Yeah. I have said over this entire past process, I'm like, I just need a boy. It's like the Ava song, gimme a man who can lift things, kill the wasps, and I don't know, like tuck me into bed and I wake up and I think I'm like describing like Santa's elves, not a boyfriend, but and it's all done.
Okay. Well, we need to find you some Santa elves then.
If you're an elf and you have a boss named Santa, DM us.
Oh man, this conversation right now is a testament to how tired and overwhelmed we both are.
Talk to me
how
about
completely unhinged are we?
Yeah. Okay, how are you?
I'm okay. I mean, I say that in a high-pitched voice because like, am I okay? We don't know. We never know. I mean, both boys are back in school, so that's like a good thing. In the sense that like I'm not having to juggle being a parent and also having a house and having a job 9 to 5 in a corporate company, like, all the things, having a podcast,
You've
having
gone
all the
from
things.
10 full-time jobs to 8 full-time jobs.
Exactly. Yeah. So, in that sense, it's good. We've had some like up and downs, I feel like, with the allergy stuff in terms of dosing lately. Like he's had yesterday I gave him the milk of his like, his amount that he's having right now. And he like started talking different.
Oh.
Like a weird like raspiness to his voice.
Because like hoarseness, like talking hoarseness, that's something whenever I'm doing an allergy appointment and I'm like, do you think I'm okay? Like, can you take a look at like, is this a hive? And he'll like, you're talking fine. Like you sound totally the same. Yeah. You're eating, you're drinking. And I don't think that's a hive. Like, I'm going to come back and check on you in 15 minutes, Danielle. So like that would raise an alarm.
Right. No, it did. but then he was fine. Like there was nothing else. And so it was just so bizarre. And I kept being like, is he doing this? Like, not because he's trying to trick me about allergies, but just like, is he just being silly?
Yeah.
But he, like, I even like kind of tricked him, like, and was trying to ask him like something else unrelated or like change his like thought process and like get out of that zone. And like, he still was talking like that. But then after 15, 20 minutes, like I waited a little longer in between the doses because I still had to give the peanuts after that.
Oh my gosh, Sarah.
And Mark was not out of town, but like he was at like an event. And
he said he felt fine. His throat didn't feel
totally fine. I looked in his throat. Nothing was awry. Like all was good. So I don't know. I'm like, maybe he just needed to clear his throat. Like maybe it had nothing to do with that.
No, that totally happens to like, you know, when you have a frog in your throat.
Yeah.
Like hawk a little loogie. I guess that happens to kids too, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But it is kind of weird that it happened like right after the milk.
Totally.
So it's like always with allergies, it's these things like, is this connected? Is it not connected? Was this related or no? Like the unknown, the questions, like that part stresses me out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like work is busy. I'm just like a little all over the place. I feel a little frazzled with everything. Yep.
Your body can only handle so much.
It's true.
And your brain can only handle so much.
Yeah.
And whether it's mom things or allergy things or something else, like a move or whatever, it doesn't even need to be like a big dramatic thing.
No.
Like we both need to really remember, like there's only so much that you can do.
Yeah.
My dad has a saying, I think I've probably shared it with you. I can't remember if it's been on the podcast or not, but he says fatigue makes us all cowards. And I don't know, this maybe from a president or maybe from an old Western, but like it's probably not a Larry Price original.
Yeah.
But that's one of his favorite things to say to me. And whether it's like I had a horse show, whether it was growing up or like a big test or now with like work, and I just and with dosing a lot too. He'll just be like, Danielle, I love you, and I think you just need to realize like fatigue makes us all cowards.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. When you're sleep deprived or you're run down, like your brain can't function the same way. Your emotions are not functioning the same way. I mean, I learned that very quickly after having a child and you don't sleep. And all of a sudden you're like, everything's wrong. I'm crying all the time. Like things just feel really, really hard. And then you get like that first glorious 4-hour stretch of sleep instead of like the 2-hour stretches. And you're like, I'm a new person. Oh my gosh, I'm not miserable. I'm just tired. You know, it's like, that's very crystal clear whenever you have a child.
The fact that 4 hours of sleep is a crazy stretch. If I was woken up, if I wake up once in the night, I'm pissed. I'm like, what the heck, body? Why'd you wake me up?
Yeah.
4 hours is a long time to sleep for moms.
I mean,
every mom listening right now is being like, ooh, girl, you don't even know it's headed your direction.
I'm trying so hard not to say that.
No, say it to me. That's crazy.
No, it is crazy. But I will say, like, it's abrupt at first, and then you really do, like, your body adjusts. Like, you just figure it out.
Okay, well, today we're talking about pets.
Yeah. Probably should have started with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows what sort of week we're having.
That's right.
But that is sort of one of the things that's really bugging me right now is something went a little awry in the allergy space with my dog. And I feel like it's just sort of like the straw that is about to break the camel's back, where I'm just like I really can't handle anything else right now. Like I have had to completely pause dosing right now. My immune system is so run down. I am so stressed. I have so much just like physical activity that I was like, okay, I'm just not going to dose right now and I will deal with it. Like I've taken more off before when I had COVID and whatever. So like, I know I can get back up, but I just can't handle it anymore right now. And I also realized I couldn't handle the dog. Like he could not be there with the movers and the doors and the heavy things and the things falling. And so I took him to a neighbor's who he loves. He loves their dogs. But she texted, I'm going to go pick him up after this. And she texted me and she was like, I am so sorry. I feel so bad. He was accidentally given peanut butter. Lorissa started Lorissa's Kitchen in 2016 with a simple mission to bring better, healthier options to the meat snacks category. However, after the birth of her third child and several challenging years helping him work through a laundry list of food allergies, she knew it was time to take that mission to the next level by providing these same high-quality, healthier options, but now to ensure that they are certified free from the top 9 allergens.
Lorissa's Kitchen is so proud to announce the first ever and only Menu Trinfo certified free from the top 9 allergen meat snack on the market. Check out LK on Amazon or their website, lorissaskitchen.com. That's LORISSAS kitchen.com. And you can use the code EpiPod for 15% off.
Also, they're available in Sprouts.
Oh no.
And so I'm just really stressed about how do this has never happened before.
Yeah.
Like, I know with a human boy what to do.
Yeah.
But a dog boy, I don't necessarily. And it made me think about, I actually asked quite a lot about allergies and owning a dog.
Yeah.
Being a very proud, obsessive dog mom. And I've also been asked a lot, but mostly by like tip moms or moms who follow tip accounts. They like bring up dogs a lot to me. And I'm like, I've never talked about that with my allergist, but I know that it's something that is a part of you all's program. And it's also something that you personally had to make a big adjustment in you all's family.
Yeah, we did. So we had a dog. Well, okay, let's start with your first question. Yes, I know that doctors in our program have told us that if you have a dog allergy, like if there is even a little level, like on your IgE blood work, it like shows up as you might have some sensitivity to dogs. It can be a factor in dosing, because like what you're doing when you're giving yourself allergens is like triggering your immune system, right? And so like a lot of people think of it like the bucket, like the allergy bucket. And so like each little thing that you're putting into your body or exposing your body to, like your allergy bucket is filling up. So we do antihistamines while we're in this treatment program because it helps like kind of dump some of that water out of the bucket. And you're always trying to like not tip it over, not like go over the rim of that bucket. And if you have an animal in your home and you have or are sensitive to animals or have an allergy, like that is something that can tip you over. So can illness, like all these little factors. And so it's just kind of not necessarily, I think a lot of allergists would say you don't have to necessarily rehome your pet. It's not generally going to cause like anaphylaxis. It's not that type of allergy. But if you're doing all these other things and you need to take something out of your bucket, like that could be something to think about. So whether it's rehoming your animal, not getting one if you don't have one already, or at the very least, like making them stay out of your child's bedroom, being really diligent about like cleaning upholstery, keeping them in a separate room within the hours of dosing or like the rest period, stuff like that. So that is definitely something I've talked with our like tip doctors in California, but then even here locally, because dialing it way back, you were, teasing to the fact that like had a personal experience with dogs. Mark and I, whenever we moved to Austin, probably 9 years ago.
You've been here for 9 years?
Yeah, I think so.
You're like the mayor of Austin at this point. That's a crazy amount of time to be in Austin. Yeah. Everyone in the city is like, oh, I moved in the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like a year or two ago.
Which is
something.
Me.
Yes. Yeah. No, we moved in 2015. What is that?
Yeah.
It's like 9 years ago, I think. I'm bad at math. Something like that.
9 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we moved here about 9 years ago. We had always wanted a dog. I had dogs growing up, but like being in the news industry, like you move around a lot, and it was kind of like I was young, not a time to get a dog. And then we moved here and we were newly married and just felt like it was like the next thing, like let's get a dog. And loved her. She was like from the shelter, a little mixed dog. I think she had like blue heeler in her, maybe a little lab, maybe a little pit, like just a perfect little dog. So sweet, friendly. Everyone loved her. So much energy. I think she did train me a little bit for my boys because she was so high energy, like never stopped. Such a great dog. Her name was Rye. And so we had Graham, and we were really excited because I see all these videos like on social media and things of like the babies with the dogs.
Yes,
and
the
they're
dog
like best friends.
Yes, it's his baby, and he takes care of the baby, and this is his baby. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was obviously the dream, like the thought. And Graham was born, and from the beginning, and we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but like he was not an easy baby. Like he cried all the time, and typical like colic is what most people would say. Even like the grandmas, whoever would come over and be like, oh yeah, mine had colic, or an aunt, uncle, whatever.
Yes. You're like, this is not the same thing.
Right? Yeah. And it just like, but then you're a new mom, you have no idea. So you're just like taking all these people's opinions and like thoughts, and it's making you crazy. And it was just a really hard time. And he not only would cry a lot and be like uncomfortable after feedings and stuff like that, but then he would constantly have eczema and like red circles around his eyes. Like not just dark, he has dark circles, like allergic shiners is what they call them in the allergy world, but like like redness, like swollen red eyes. When I look back at pictures, it makes me want to cry looking at him. And I looked at him every day, right? And he was my baby, and it was like, I knew something wasn't quite right in my heart, but like there was nothing emergent. So it wasn't like I was running to the doctor, but
like you said, it was your first one. It's not like you'd be like, wow, the 3 kids before this never had this.
Right.
This is a big deal. I'm just like, wow, like,
yeah. Google. I did start to notice though, like more and more as I would be hanging out with friends and their babies and stuff, that like he definitely looked different, acted different, like they didn't look like they'd been punched in the face, and my little baby did, you know, and it just, I don't know, it like wears on you slowly. I don't know how else to describe it. Like you just like look at your kid and you're like, you're the best thing. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. You look at your little baby and you're like, you're the most perfect baby, like you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And yet you look at them and you're like, but I know in my heart that like something's not right. That like you have these deep red rings around your eyes. Like that can't be okay. And even if the doctor's like, well, he might have this, he has eczema, like whatever. And I'm just like, I get that, but that's not really helping me. Like you're not really giving me a solution. And, we didn't even find out about the food allergies until he was starting to eat food. So that was around like 6 months. But before that, he seemed very miserable. Anyway, all this to say, we definitely suspected an dog allergy, because when our dog would lick him, he would get an immediate rash, like an immediate breakout on his arm or wherever that was on his, of course dogs love to lick your face. Totally. And so he would just get like redness on his face. And then again, constantly living with these like red rings around his eyes. And it eventually got to a point where Mark and I had to have a conversation like, okay,
what do we do?
What do we do? Yeah. He can't like, this is our child.
He can't live
like this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, you hear all these stories about like people getting rid of their dog after they have a kid. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to be that person. I love my dog. This is my baby. Yeah. And so it's like this guilt that I was wrestling with. And, so we decided to reach out and see if there's anyone who could keep her for a little bit and do like almost like a trial run,
like an A/B test.
Yes.
Maybe he's still like this and it's not her.
Maybe. Yeah. Yes. And so we kind of homed her for temporary time period. We got our air vents cleaned. We like got professional upholstery cleaning done, like tried to really get the house de-dogged, as much as possible, and kept it for a long time too, because not a long time, like 2 or 3 weeks, but like longer than a couple of days, because it takes a minute for some of that to like get out of the house, air out. Totally. And then also like the body takes a little bit to like clear whatever is like bothering their system, And so we did nothing, we changed nothing else but those things. And like, it was clear within probably 3 to 5 days.
Wow.
That he was different. So, I mean, he still had the like, issues after feeding, stuff like that. And again, later we learned that was food allergies that were coming through my breast milk and like the whole thing. But, the red, like the deep red circles around his eyes, like the like raccoon redness around his eyes wasn't there. Like he didn't have as frequent of breakouts because like the dog wasn't rubbing up against him. It wasn't licking him. Later also, we learned about food and stuff. So it wasn't just the dog licking him. I don't think it was like the dog's food had milk and eggs and things in it.
Totally.
And then, so that's allergens. Like you said, like your dog having eaten peanut butter, like, okay, well,
it's going to
linger in there.
Yes. It's going to be in their saliva the same way it's in a human saliva. Right. We had like the dating episode. So that,
yes,
makes sense.
And so it was really sad. It was like really, really, really hard, but it was also really easy.
You had to.
Yeah.
It wasn't a decision.
There wasn't, it wasn't like I was making a decision. It was like, I'm just doing what has to be done. And it was brutal. We had to contact like the shelter that we got her from and explain the situation. And we knew somebody who fostered from that same shelter in the neighborhood. So like she kind of, instead of having to go back to the shelter and then go somewhere else, she like got to go straight to the other home, and then they kept her until she was adopted. And it's actually a wonderful story, because not only did Graham do better, but I still follow, I don't think she knows this, but I follow the girl who adopted her.
Rise new mom, shout out.
And she like is this lady who's like doesn't have kids, is like, the dog is her child. Yes. She has a portrait that painted of the dog. Gosh. It's like up on the wall. She's on Instagram, like always in the background. They're like going on walks. I mean, she has had the best dog life with this woman, way better than she ever would have had in our family. And I'm just so grateful for that. Meant to be. Yes. But I'm glad and I'm thankful for the time that we had with her. But Graham is highly, highly allergic to dogs. So like his numbers are fairly off the charts. It's only gotten like more so allergic. Like his numbers
even
have
after
only
treatment.
Yeah.
And slit and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think he does better now with dogs, but like his numbers don't really show that. I mean, obviously
I do remember seeing and hearing you talk about like, we let him pet dogs now, and as long as he washes right after, but that was like a hard no, and now it's like, okay.
Yes. So that part of treatment I think has helped. Like it's given us a little more freedom in that regard, because he loves dogs. He always wants to pet the dogs. But like we talked about before, like the allergy bucket thing, like I have to be really cautious about that, because I know he's still allergic. He might not be as reactive, but like if it's around dosing time and we're like about to go in and dose and there's a dog that passes in the front yard, like I have to make a decision whether to like hold him back in that moment, which probably is the right thing to do. But then again, it's always this wrestle with like, but also like, I want him to live. I want him to live. I don't want to hold him back from every little thing, and you never know with allergies. Will that push him over the edge? Will it not? You don't know. There's no magic ball, like crystal ball. It's a lot. But for a long time, we avoided dogs like the plague, like a long time, years. And it's hard because, I know like someone like you're obsessed with your dog, like in the best of way. I mean, that I don't mean that as a negative. Like
I find that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am.
And like, I think that's wonderful.
Also, you live in a city that is run by the dogs. Like avoiding dogs in Austin, which Graham has only ever lived in Austin his entire life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How did you do that?
Yeah. Well, we didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Because he has allergies. But no, yeah. I mean, I love it. But like, I do see like when you bring your dog on the plane, like we've talked about this before, like that was my worst nightmare. Like I would like I stare at people that brought their I mean any dogs that like came on the plane. I was like, how dare you? My kid's allergic. I wasn't actually thinking that, but like it was like here we are in a metal tube in the middle of the sky without medical care, and here's a factor that can make my kid allergic, like more susceptible to a reaction.
For me, that would be as if like I saw somebody walking on the plane, like cracking open peanuts, like at a baseball game style. I mean, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I have to get off the plane, I feel like, Yeah,
totally.
But yeah, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I know like if you just have the, like, and then we had to give away our dog that we adopted from a shelter. And I can tell it was really hard for you, but I totally understand what you, as somebody who like my life revolves around my dog.
Yeah.
It's his world and I live in it, not the other way around.
Yeah.
For better or worse. That's just, it is what it is. And like, even being from that perspective, I can totally see. It's like, it wasn't a choice. Like, of course you had to. And I'm so stoked that Rye has a mom who sounds like she's as unhinged of a dog mom as I am.
I think she is. I really think she is. It's amazing. One thing, you brought it up earlier, but I feel like for anybody listening who like is still dealing with this or like, how do I deal with this? So for us, we still make him wash his hands after he touches a dog, and definitely did before, but even now. And then like, I don't ever want, you know how you like want to hug a dog, like especially the big dogs, like you want to bury your face in their, you know, neck because they're just so cute, right? You know, and it's like he wants to do that. And I had to tell him just the other day, he was like trying to like lean down and like, you know, give a big bear hug to the dog. And I was like, no, like just hands. I said, just your hands. We're not going to, you know, put your face on it. Like he wants to like nuzzle in the dog. And so for me, that's like a big hard no. And then also if I do feel like it was very, like he got a little touchy-feely with the dog or it's like we're about to dose, I usually have him go up and take a shower. Just like not even so much as like because you pet the dog, like I don't tell him that, but in my head I'm kind of doing that, you know. But and
you're not worried about it like heating up his body?
What do you mean?
Like taking a shower before a dose?
Nah. I mean,
well, also like a kid's shower is like really chill. Like,
like, and they don't get super hot like we do. Like I want to like scold my
That's
body.
what I was about to say. Like an adult shower, like after a long stressful day is like, I want my skin to blister.
Right. Same.
And I also want to be in there for 30 minutes.
Yes.
Which is like so different than like a kid who's like, the bath water's hot. And you're like, it's actually cold to the touch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, totally. And like, he's quick. And I mean, I think your body cools down pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're doing it like 30 minutes before, it's fine.
Also, like allergies aside, from a dog mom, like don't let your kid give bear hugs or nuzzle dogs because that big golden doodle may be fine, but like another dog will try and bite your kid. And what if he does? And now you have an owner who's devastated because she has the state telling them like, oh, your dog is aggressive and we may have to put it down. And you have a kid who's now traumatized. Like, don't ever let your kid do anything but ask, can I like let the dog lick me and then walk away politely? Like, I don't care what the dog is. They're animals. Like, who says that something might not spook the dog who may think that it's the kid? And you just never know.
It's so true. We have a very strong, like, ask the owner, can you pet the dog? And then they know to like do their hand like just out a little bit and like let them sniff. And then if like they're friendly, but we've had a few owners say like, oh yeah, they're great with kids. And then they like lunge or like bark at my kid. And I'm like, maybe don't tell people that they're good with kids. And then I just always tell the boys, I'm like, oh, some dogs get scared. Like they're just scared. It is true. They're probably just like scared of kids. Like those kids have sudden movements. They're not used to like small little bodies. Well, it's like scary.
My dog doesn't know what to do with a child. Like he doesn't even know what to do with a boy because I haven't had one.
Oh man.
I have not a boyfriend.
Someone set Danielle up on a date. Do you know any cute boys who hate peanuts?
Yeah.
Please send them our way for Danielle.
I have not had a boyfriend since I've had the dog, which is almost 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
You've been dating. Just no like boyfriend.
Yeah. So like he doesn't even know what to do with a grown male boy.
Right. Like sleeping over or something. Yeah.
Mom, don't listen. She's gonna be like, Sarah, it's a bad influence.
Earmuffs.
Okay.
You're 30-something years old. Come on.
No, well, tell that to my mom. Yeah. Just kidding. Mom, love you. Okay. So yeah, I'll jump in from the opposite perspective. Like I don't want somebody listening to be like, oh my gosh, I need to rehome my dog. Maybe you do if you have a highly allergic to dogs child, like maybe, but I follow a couple of tip moms who they do like the separate room thing. Yeah. And they live on farms. Like their kids are rolling in hay and dirt and up against horses and up against dogs and like going to sleep with a goat at night. Well, maybe not that bad, but they're like all around different farm animals.
Totally.
And like the dog is licking their face and then they go in and they dose. Yeah. And like the dosing room has no animals in it. So like, I don't want anybody listening because this is my personality. Like if I watch a Instagram reel or TikTok about somebody who got the most rare form of pinky cancer, I'm like, I got to make an appointment tomorrow. So I don't want anybody listening in case there's any Danielle adjacents out there. Like you don't need to necessarily rehome your dog. That's just one end of the spectrum. That's your end of the spectrum. And my end of the spectrum is the exact opposite, yin and yang. sour and sweet, as always.
Yes.
Yeah. So I grew up, as we've talked about before, a horseback rider. So I was constantly around horses, around hay, around like, I don't even know. I never even looked at the ingredients of like all of the supplements and all of the feeds. And like, I don't know what was in that. Yeah. Now I'm always thinking, I'm like, what is in that hairspray? Did they change the formula? Like I never did that growing up. And we had a Jack Russell Terrier who was almost 19 years old when he passed, and love of my life, Elvis. And he shed like crazy. Like if he was in the car with us on the way to school, I went to this small Episcopalian K through 8 school, and I thought I was Blair Waldorf, obviously. And so I wore these navy knee socks with loafers with my uniform. And if the dog came with us to drop me off, it looked like I was wearing gray knee socks. And my mom would be like, change into these new ones. Like we don't want people to think da da da. And it was just like, we lived in the hair. It didn't matter. The vacuum cleaner was always going. It didn't matter how many times you ran it through. You would like sit down on the bed and stand up with like your backside hairy.
Oh my God.
He shed so much.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
I didn't know any different.
Right.
And he was our one and only dog. We got him when I was in 4th grade. And then he passed when I was like, I think 5 or 6 years out of college. So he was my entire childhood, felt like. And then, so when I got Gatsby, I love him so much. I was expecting that. I was expecting this dog who would never tire out. Oh my God, Jack Russell Terriers are like Energizer bunnies. He would never tire out. He would want to get in the mud. He'd want to be dirty. He'd want to go on 300 runs a day. He'd want to go to the stables and chase rabbits and like be a dog. Gatsby doesn't know he's a dog. But I mean, why would he? Like he has a baby stroller because he doesn't like to walk. Like I carry him everywhere. He's went on 16 flights in 2023 alone. Like the dog is not a dog. And he doesn't shed though. And I didn't know that. Like the dog doesn't walk. He doesn't shed. He's the exact opposite of my last dog.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thankful because I think that would be hard for me now. Like now dosing and now being cognizant of things that I wasn't before. I think that would probably bother me.
Yeah.
Like what's on his hair, what's in his whatever. Similar to how you have rules for Graham, I have rules for the dog. Not for like little kids who want to touch him. I always say no. And I tell the parent like, oh, he's not good with kids. That's a lie. He's fine. Usually. Like he doesn't know what to do with them. He's like, why does this look like human but is my size? Like I don't know what to do. Also for context, Gatsby is like 17 pounds. He is a small dog.
Tiny dog.
Yes. But yeah, I don't want them touching him because I don't know what's on their hands. Like they're eating a snack and they're like, can I touch your dog? Or they won't ask. They'll just run up and I'll swoop him up. And I'm like, no touching. No, he doesn't like people. And meanwhile, he's just like sitting there wagging like,
yeah. He's like, come on, Mom, let me have some fun.
Yeah. So, or like him playing with other dogs. I know that like a lot of dog treats have peanut butter in them. And so when they wrestle with each other, I'm like, great, now it's all over his fur. So like, I'm always having to be overthinking like what he's stepping on. Oh my gosh, when we went to Charleston and he doesn't like to walk, like a dog walk, but he does like to go shopping. So we were like shopping along King Street and South Carolinians love the peanut. There are peanut shells on the streets. It's like, you've heard streets of gold. No, these are streets of peanuts.
Yikes.
I know.
Oh,
it's
good
so
to know,
rude.
though.
Or like the southern states are like, get a grip, you guys.
Yeah.
The boiled peanuts is like a thing for them there.
In Louisiana, that's a big thing too.
Or like we would go to the beach and people would be eating the boiled peanuts and just shelling them and throwing them. So when we were there for like a month last summer, I was constantly like, his legs are like little Clydesdale legs. Like they are very fluffy and they're like Swiffers, 4 Swiffers on paw pads. And so I was constantly having to bathe his like feet or like his legs when we would come in from being on King Street, where I would like, if I visibly saw peanut shells, I was like, okay.
Yeah. Similar to like, we take off our shoes when we come in like in our house because of allergens. Like, yes, it's also, I think, kind of gross that like people walk in the HB parking lot or in the public bathrooms in their shoes and then they like walk all through their house. Like I've never thought about it before the allergy thing. We did it growing up and it like wasn't I never thought about that, how gross and dirty that seems to me now. But like when we stopped wearing shoes in the house, it wasn't really because of that. It was because of allergens. Like I was so obsessed with like, how do we get Graham's skin to look better? And he was crawling all over the floor, you know? And I was like, okay, well, at least here's one thing. Again, one scoop out of the bucket is if like we're not tracking in allergens on our shoes potentially, then maybe like we'll have a cleaner, safe place in our house for our baby. And so, yeah, we take off our shoes. So for you can't take off a dog's shoes, but you can wipe his paws.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So like I have a little hose, like in Austin, there are 1 gazillion and 1 pecan trees.
Yeah.
And from like end of August to like all of the ember months, the squirrels get in them and crack them open. And it's just like, it looks like gravel, but it's pecans. So the pecans in the ember months, the squirrels will get into them or like cars will crunch on them and it looks like gravel, but it's really ground up pecans and pecan shells.
And then your dog just
walks
or
in it. Like you said, my shoes. So like I don't do shoes in my house because of that. Like moving and looking for apartments, I was almost moving into a place that had a huge pecan tree in the front yard and I was so stressed about it. And luckily I didn't end up moving there. But yeah, it's like something that now you're not just thinking about yourself and what you have come in contact with, but I'm constantly having to think about that. He is everything to me. And he actually has been so helpful for treatment and for just like anxiety in general. Like he's not like a calm dog by any means. Like he doesn't do the thing where like he lays on you when you're stressed and he's not like chill. He's not chill. People who have terriers, you know, they are terrors. They are not chill. But he definitely like has been very helpful in the sense that I am concerned about his safety or not even his safety. It doesn't even be a negative thing. Like I'm having fun playing with him or, you know, making sure he's healthy or whatever. So I can't hyperfixate on like, it's been 3 hours. How's my throat? Like he very much so takes me out of it. He also, I mean, dogs need like, even though he hates it, like they need to go outside and go to the bathroom. They need to go on some kind of exercise. He needs to eat. So he definitely has been helpful for me with dosing. But I would say like, I used to think a lot about like, what disease do I have? Like, do I have this? Do I have that? Like I was constantly convinced that I had something. And since getting the dog, it really has just like zlooped me out of that.
Yeah.
Now I obsess about the dog and I'm like, oh my God, did he eat a battery? And I'm like, why would he have eaten a battery?
Yeah.
So
he
it's just transferred.
You.
But but like, or flying, honestly, flying with him has really it was really helpful for me to get out of the anxiety of the allergy. Because it was like, I stopped flying in the pandemic as everybody did. And then I started again and I was having a hard time getting back into it and just not obsessing over who on the plane was eating what. And then I got him, it was still pandemic time. I got him like late 2021. And when I started traveling with him, which was like immediately, he was 10 weeks old when I got him. We traveled at his 12 weeks old. I was like, this is crazy. Looking back, I'm like, why did you do that? But it was Thanksgiving. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah. I think we traveled with Graham on an airplane when he was probably about that old, like 12 weeks. Like, maybe wild. Like 2 months old actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right when they like get their shots and
like allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have noticed that he was really helpful for that too. So I don't think like if you're an allergy person, don't immediately think like, oh, pet could be bad for me and my lifestyle. I'm a testament that like actually they can be really helpful. But yeah, I'm so thankful for him. He adds a lot of stress in my life and I would be so much richer without a dog. Like that is what I want to spend my money on. Like he has like Whole Foods for dogs. Like it's like a meal delivery service. It's organic. It's human grade. Like if there's ever a bad 100-year freeze in Austin again, I would have dog food to eat.
Oh my gosh. But I will be so interested to see what happens if you have children.
Oh, okay. So everybody's like, oh, your dog will become your dog then because you'll have actual like human babies. And I'm like, okay, well, no, I'll get a double stroller. Hello. And there's actually this super cute girl. I think she's English and she also has a Westie like I do. And she recently had a baby and she was like, everybody said that like, he would become a dog and he didn't. Yeah. Like, hello?
I think if there's an exception to that rule, you might be it.
Yeah.
But I would say 99% of people, their relationship with their animal, not that the love goes away or that the love changes, but the relationship, the obsession possessiveness,
Totally.
the bringing them everywhere, the
your
life
baby-
revolving around them, like that is just impossible.
Your
to
baby
happen.
will come first because you're bringing your baby everywhere.
Yeah.
Your baby is traveling with you everywhere. Your dog can't because you can't do two at the same time. I'm aware that I'm like an extreme dog mom. And so like, even if that lowers, if I ever have kids, I still think I'll be like an extreme dog mom, which it is what it is. I love it.
That's right.
I will say that Gatsby definitely can sometimes hinder my dating life because he doesn't like big dogs and he doesn't like male dogs. So there has been many a time in my last apartment complex, the hottest guy had these two big black dogs, big male black dogs, so well behaved, so friendly. Gatsby turned into the Exorcist. Okay. And the guy, every time we would be out there with our dogs, he'd be like, hey, like and before he get introduced, I still don't know his name. Gatsby was like, he was like a rabid beast on the end of this line. And I'm just like, oh, sorry. So like, I'm not worried about a lot of things. Like if I get married to a person, people are like, what are they going to do about your allergy? And I'm like, a guy has never chosen peanut butter over me. And if they have, then like, I hope they're very happy with each other. Yeah. I will be choosing my future partner over, the dog will be a factor in that. Like, I can't date somebody with big dogs.
Or who doesn't like your dog What other dog tips do you have before we get to questions and answers?
I actually do have one more thing to add. Okay. I did a video with, my one true love, Aspire Allergy and Sinus. Uh-huh. They have clinics all over the place. Yeah. And they were, this was before I started OIT. This is when we were just doing food challenges. I was meeting several of the different doctors, and I realized like, wow, people are really hungry for allergy content, but like not everybody has a peanut allergy. And so we started talking about other allergies. And then it was like, okay, well, not everybody has allergies. Some people it's like environmental. And that's really what they specialize in more than the food allergy. Like Mecca is definitely, their program head is in Austin and is my doctor, but like their other clinics are very environmentally focused. Seasonal, Yes. And so a lot of people, I was like, oh, they want to know about environmental allergies. They want to know about dog allergy. So I did a video with one of the doctors on dog allergies, and she was debunking the myth that a dog allergy, like hypoallergenic dogs don't exist.
Exactly.
And it has nothing to do with like, if you say you're a newlywed and your partner doesn't like dogs because they're allergic, or they say that have a sensitivity to dogs, and the girl is like, no, but I love a dog, like this is make or break. And they're like, okay, great, we'll get a golden doodle. That is a total myth. Apparently it's all really to do with like each individual dog's saliva and like skin makeup. So like maybe certain breeds are statistically like they affect less people, but like you totally can get a hypoallergenic dog, and somebody who has a dog allergy could be fine with it, and some people with the dog allergy or sensitivity could still not be fine with it.
Totally. Yeah. People tell us that all the time. Like whenever we really, really avoided dogs, and the dog would kind of like walk up to us or something, if we were playing at the park or whatever, and I would say, oh, excuse me, my son is really allergic to dogs. And they'd be like, oh no, it's a hypoallergenic dog. And I knew that at the time that like, there's really no such thing. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, we're still going to just like keep our distance, just thinking in my head, like, nope, that is not true. Yeah. Because I mean, and the other thing too, is it's like, you can be allergic to their dander, you can be allergic to their saliva. Like there's all different bits. So it's not just like, oh, they shed or they don't shed. Right. I think a lot of people think it's, if they don't shed, then they're not spreading allergens around. Right. And it's like, no, well, you can not shed hair, but still have dander. And also you can be allergic to the saliva that every dog has, right? Yes. Like, I mean, they're all going to have slightly different like makeup and things, but like at the end of the day, every dog has saliva. And generally if you have a dog allergy, you're going to be allergic to that. Yes. So there's really no way to avoid it.
Yeah. So I always thought that was interesting, because I had plenty of people who are like, I have a dog allergy, but I got a golden doodle. And I'm like, okay, well, you're a psycho for that.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. For me, that's like, if I don't know, people are being like, don't you want to just, that conversation that you always hear.
Yeah.
Don't you want to just like give yourself the EpiPen because don't you want to just see what it tastes like? I'm like, why would you do that?
No.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. Why would you get a dog if you have a dog allergy?
Yep. I'm with you.
Yeah. I guess, you know how I'm like, no boy has ever chosen peanut butter over me?
Yeah.
If there is a man out there with a dog allergy who's like, no woman has ever chosen a dog over me, I'd be like, I would.
Danielle will choose her dog over you, so don't even try it.
I don't like dogs. Like, the light in your eyes was just like, huh? I'm not like a dog. I like dogs. Like, who doesn't like dogs? They're like happy little angels. Right. But like, I'm not the person who, and maybe it's the allergy person in me, I don't see a dog and like, oh my dog, like blah, 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 blah. Like, I want to admire the dog. Like maybe I'll pet it, but like I'm thinking like maybe it's had peanut butter or like whatever. I'm just obsessed with my dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if a dog tries to jump up on me at like in a public space, I'm like, I go full Karen.
Yeah.
And whoever I'm with is like, that person would never believe who you are with Gatsby.
Yeah.
Like you let him sit on your face with his butthole on your forehead. Like,
yeah, again, we're like so opposite. So like I am the one who's like, I see a dog and I'm like, I just want to rub my face in you. Like I love a dog like jumping on me and snuggling them.
Oh, I want to talk to them. I just don't touch me.
I don't want them. I don't want one. I don't want one anymore. Like my life, like, especially again, after having like kids, some people just works in their life and that's fine. And that's what they know and do. And I'm happy for those people. But like now, like even if they poofed his dog allergy away, I would not get a dog. Like it's just so much work and time and effort. And like when you have two kids that take a lot of time and effort. Yeah.
With special health needs. Yeah. And they are also extremely rambunctious.
Yes.
I also like, it's always the mom who ends up taking care of the family dog.
Yeah. It's just, it won't happen.
We
get
started this.
I'll get
EpiSode.
a gerbil.
Yeah. No, don't get those. Okay. They multiply and they smell terrible.
Oh, gross. Okay. I'll get a beta fish. A beta fish.
And then if it dies, you can replace it. And you'll be like, look, it's Tommy. It's the same thing. Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay. Done. Christmas present on the list.
I love it. No, we started the episode saying full plates. We're not adding anything to your plate.
No, we're
just
not doing
taking
it.
things away.
That's right. We got to scoop out of the bucket. We got to scoop off the plate.
Yes.
We're done.
My game plan to circle it back truly to the beginning with Gatsby and the PB accident.
Yeah.
The treat was given to him at 9 p.m. last night. And so it'll be like shy of 24 hours. But like, I'm just going to treat him like he's a boy I'm about to make out with. Like, hasn't been 24 hours. He's had a meal. I'm going to brush his teeth. And I have to remember this with like my food allergy anxiety. What is the worst that could happen? And if it happens, I know I can handle it. I'm not at risk for anaphylaxis. I am at risk for maybe getting a hive. I am at risk for having anxiety. But like, not only am I in treatment for this, and like I've made it far enough where cross-contamination, eating it, not just it being around me, is okay, that like your dog having an accidental treat is not going to be the end of the world.
Especially a full day ago.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and again, I don't want to be toxic positivity, but every time any of these blips happen, and I'm tired with the allergy blips. Like I was texting you about the way a barista handled my coffee order, and it just like was really discouraged. I'm not in a place where I can handle discouraging things right now.
Yeah.
I typically try and look at them as an opportunity. Like, okay, I really think this is an opportunity where I can be like, I can handle this. I know I'm going to have the opportunity to brush his teeth. And now by the end of tonight, I'm going to know 24 hours in brushing the teeth, I don't get a hive. We're good.
Right.
I'm going to walk out of this with information and more confidence in myself for being able to handle things that I haven't before.
I love that.
So I'll check back in with you. I'll text you in the morning.
I love it. Yep. I'm excited to hear. I think you're going to do great. And I'm really proud of you for having that mindset.
Thank you. I'm really trying. And I have therapy tomorrow, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah. You can tell her all about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump into question and answers.
Yes, love it.
These question and answers are brought to you by Inchbug, a waterproof personalized name label company for kids. You already know how much we love their labels for keeping water bottles and lunch containers clearly labeled for school, but
Inchbug is currently giving our listeners 30% off of their allergy bag tags on Amazon. Find the link in our show notes and get personalizing. First question, how did you establish such a strong out-of-office guidance relationship with your allergists? I trust my son's allergist fully. She explains things. She's thorough and she's kind. But it is the general, well, he's anaphylactic to many things, so see you in a year. So calling with questions does give me pause. Should I just call when I feel like I should?
I would say yes. Like, don't be scared to call. I mean, I think how you develop a relationship is by reaching out and starting the conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So I think they're not going to reach out to you necessarily.
Totally.
You know, so if you want to talk to them, I think you have to be the one to reach out. Like in a lot of ways, it's a one-sided relationship like that. I will say, like, in the TIP program, now again, we're paying a lot of money to have concierge services, so it better be pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's not always perfect, but I will say, like, especially after a reaction or if we have a question, like, they get back to us and then they like check in again with us, which is really nice to be like checked in with without mm-hmm. asking first. But yeah, I would say don't hesitate to contact them with any question. And the more you contact them, I mean, as long as you do it in like a respectful way, I don't think they're going to find it annoying. I think they're just going to get to know you. And then that's how you have that relationship. I will say, like, our local Austin allergist, we don't really have, I mean, I will reach out if I need to and ask questions, but like, I don't feel like he necessarily like knows us well. Like, I don't have that relationship, but I do with the provider that we see regularly through TIP. But again, we're going every 10 to 12 weeks. So it's like, we're seeing them more, we're talking to them more. And I think just having that naturally will lend itself to that better, more open communication line. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would just say, like, reach out as much as you want to, and hopefully that will develop.
Yeah. I also, like, I am always we're giving the advice to people listening, like, ask your doctor. Or like, whenever I'm talking to my therapist, she's like, I'm not an MD, I'm just your therapist. So ask your allergist.
Yeah.
And so it's hard when you're constantly being told, ask your allergist, and you're like, but how? Like, yeah. I would be booking an appointment like all the time to ask him a bunch of questions for things that are like not related to a specific episode or like a new treatment that we're starting. Yeah. So I totally feel for this person. I also,
but just email or call.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, I'm used to, similar to you all, we use an app called Spruce.
Okay.
And that's how I communicate with my therapist too. It's like pretty normal in the medical community where you can, it's like HIPAA compliant texting with your doctor. Uh-huh. So I'm constantly asking my doctor, Dr. Silvers, like, hey, oh my God, one time I was at a birthday party and there was a walnut oil candle and it had been burning the whole 3 hours I was there and I didn't know it and I felt really off and I had like a little mark on my skin and I went down to my apartment because it was the apartment above me that I was having a dinner party at, brought my own food, and I was able to message him in the moment and he messaged back even though it was after hours. So that's like, great. That's how my relationship is. But again, it's because I'm in a treatment program.
Yeah.
And so I think it's different for people. I would say, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Maybe even like collecting your questions in your notes app and just getting like a whole chunk of them. Mm-hmm. And if you have a sizable amount, like maybe you do book an appointment to talk through them.
Yeah.
Or you can call in and be like, I have X amount of questions. Like, can I email? Is there an email address I can email them to and he can get back to me, he or she can get back to me
totally
whenever. But yeah, never hesitate. And like, once they do get to know you, like if they know you're the type of person who needs a lot more question and answer and isn't a loosey-goosey see you in a year for your new EpiPen prescription, then I think, you know, the office will have those things in place. Like every office is going to be different, but
yeah. Or if you really want to have that relationship and you don't feel like your doctor, I mean, it sounds like this doctor is really great from what she said, but yeah, if you're out there and you're feeling like my doctor really isn't, and I really want a good relationship, like shop around, find a new doctor, find one that has the Spruce app that you were saying, like, cause I don't think ours does here locally in Austin, but like, that would be really lovely. So like, look around if you have that opportunity. A lot of people don't live in a big city with like, you know, 15 different allergists, but if you have the opportunity, certainly don't feel like you're married to these allergists.
Or like telemed, like if you're in an area where it's like a very long drive or a big commitment to like go into the doctor's office with your child and you don't need to go in, call and ask if they offer telemed, because I think before they didn't. And then the pandemic, now they have all these HIPAA compliant systems in place where maybe they're not using them anymore, but you can. Like my GP is in my hometown and I had a bunch of questions one day and I did it that way where I was just like, do you guys still do telemed? And they were like, we haven't done one of those since 2021, but we still have the system too. So like, yeah, we can do that. Oh, so cool. I mean, yeah, definitely ask. Okay. That was kind of a long one. So let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I need to go pick up Gatsby. You need to go take care of your boys.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to send us reviews and also questions.
Yes. EpiPod podcast@gmail.com is our email address. You can also DM them to us on our social media page, epi.pod on Instagram. And yeah, write us a review. It is really nice to read, and it helps the algorithm send it to more people. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Yes. Thank you to our sponsors, Lorissa's Kitchen, Inchbug.
Yes, we'll see you next week.